Rehi la zona y la verti bre ko basa se kacho dola ba le na ne bare ya na ta ya la kula shmara ba amen la kise de ni pe de ma ko ne de kada mishke amen ko 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 ya ba span tari de gru amen Primero de cruzar el club, era de la casa de Shiraz, de la masa mirando la mata del club. Baruch atah Adonai, Elohim Abraham, Elohim Isaac, Elohim Jacob, Elohim Elohim Orar el nombre de con el fondo de hoy, me digo el nombre de la noche como a menos que sea un chivo, me quedo Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham, Elohim Shem, me caían en los ores, en la farm, como que Baruch Ross, y con la Ganis, me caían a mí, Yeshua, en sin Baruch atah Adonai. Pero acá tenemos la mano y tu deja o ex, lo que se llama como de aquí el top, la zona de salir, para lo que está Masnia quieren Yeshua. Amén. Más por no lo mismo. Rasma. Sabemos que todo. Mismo que hacemos en hacer tier, somer, pilot. Sinonía también manejan que no requieren somer piedras, somer de pilas. Todo que barro de Adonai. Amén. Y los santos de base que ver razón no se quiere razón comida, boda y traer la meta. Se hacen el de Yeshua de la Sion Baraconín barro de Adonai. Así se entonces a él y su seno de la seno se Baruch atah Adonai ורסיים והטבע כסף, וצדק וברח וברחמים וכיום ושלום וטוב עיניך לברכת, עמך ידועה בכל עזר. שעה בזומך ברוך גדל אדוני, ורק עצמו ישראל ועשית עשינו וששמנו כמאמר כיום ויקרא בשם ועמי בשם נאמר תראינו אלוהי שינו הדבר תיבות שמך, תראינו בהתאלה התכנו למען שמך, שרה ותודה שמרבה, למען תגלה כנסה ואני מפתה בתמר כבונה בגרם נשכה, ישראל, תודה אבוקות ובשמיה ביבו, אמן. שלם הרבה מי שמיה וקיים תמיד עלינו על כל ישראל ביבו, אמן. שלום ולומר כוי יצטרף עלינו על כל ישראל ביבו, אמן. לידה ישראל, לידה, וסיפר את ישראל. נאמר בהיון אלה מלאכות הארץ וים נתו יקריא המלאכה ושמו תעשש Today, Jewish history, we have 8 minutes. Today, Jewish history. Today's anniversary of the first crusade in 1096, where they were on their way to try to conquer the Holy Land, Eretz Yisrael, and they would rampage any Jewish community they could, and kill as many Yidden as they could on the way. Many Yortzeit, many Yidden, and then Shamshah, hallelujah. Today we conclude the laws in Rambam, which conclude the laws of Kiddush HaChodesh, of sanctifying the new moon. And so we're going to make a siyum, conclude that, as the Rebbe said we should make a siyum in Rambam. And then we move on to the laws of Hilchos Tainus. So the last halacha, after going through all the different calculations of how you calculate the mile, how you calculate when the new moon is going to shine, what happens is every Shabbos of Baruch, we announce over here what time the new moon is going to be seen in the skies of Yerushalayim, and the Rambam goes through to discussing exactly how we calculate all the cycles of all these the zodiac and everything, how it all works, how all the spheres all line up, and in order to know when the Ma'alin, when the moon is, in order to know when Rosh Chodesh is, and then in order to know when every Yom Tov is based on that, and so. Says the Rambam, the last halacha, he says, Harei bi'arnu v'cheshbonis, we explained all the cheshbonis, all the calculations, all the ways that we need in order to figure out when we're seeing the new moon. Is it the new moon that we're seeing, or is someone playing games with us? And when the witnesses come to Bezdin to tell us that they saw the new moon, we already know, we have exactly figured out exactly where it's supposed to be, we already know where it's supposed to be. And therefore we also we learn over here also how to question, how to cross-examine the witnesses to find out, and we also discuss here who is allowed to be a kosher witness for this, who's not allowed to be a kosher witness. We discussed once before over here the idea of that a Kohen Gadol was not a kosher witness for the new moon, and so too a king of Am Yisrael, David HaMelech, was not kosher witness for the new moon. Why? Because they each had a personal advantage. They have a negeba davar. What was that? The king. What? That conflict of interest. What's a conflict of interest? So a king says they would pay the soldiers. They would pay they would give them an annual salary. So they want an Ibriyar. They want an extra. They want a leap year, because then they get more bang for their buck. They pay them an annual salary, and so for the same annual salary, they get an extra month in. So even though at the end it always adds up and it always evens out. Years, but still, sometimes we're falling short when you're, how do I make this payroll? This makes it easier. And so they have it's a conflict that they're invested interest, and therefore we don't trust the king for when Rosh Chodesh is. Kohen Gadol also has a personal interest. What's a Kohen Gadol's personal interest? So we discussed the person Kohen Gadol. He does the avodah. He serves on the Beis Hamikdash on Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur, the floor is stone. He serves barefoot, and therefore he wants it earlier in the year. He doesn't want it later. The later it is, the colder it is, and it's freezing. He's doing the avodah. He likes it better warm, and so he's out. Kohen Gadol is out. However, it says if the Kohen Gadol comes together with the king, they testify together, so they cancel each other's personal interests out, and therefore we could trust them. Imagine, the king David HaMelech walks into court together with the Kohen Gadol. They were going for a stroll and going to the moon, Anyway,
heated floors, maybe he wouldn't have invested interest. Yeah. But when Mashiach comes, that's a good question. Are they going to have heated floors in the Beis Hamikdash? I think they will. I think they're going to use all the technology we have. But we'll find out. Teiko. The Gemara sometimes says Teiko. When Mashiach comes, we'll find out the answer is.
They probably could do it at that time.
They could do heated floors?
Yeah, but with something, okay.
Could come from contraption, put like coal underneath. Huh? Why? Why on Mars? That's what Rambam says. A bias is a bias. It doesn't matter. You could be the greatest Talmid Chacham. When it says that a bride is Yaveh Chachamim, it's gonna blind even a Chacham. It says a Chacham, even someone's a Chacham, even a tzaddik, it could blind a tzaddik.
But not talking here about a line. Talking here about you're judging and trying to calculate what's the best way to capture the years. These calculations are going to be biased. He wasn't lying, but we're not talking about testifying if we saw the moon. We're talking about figuring out if this year is going to be 12 months or 15 months based on complicated calculations. The calculations are going to be biased, even if he predicts on top.
You know the story with the guy who
I know the stories about
no. Okay, but you know the story about the guy who was going deaf in his old age. They asked him why he's going deaf in his old age. He says because he accepted bribes. And the Torah says if you accept bribes, you could become blind, even a tzaddik. So he says blind. It says blind. Why say go deaf? I mean, listen to the story.
And he said, I can't your case. And then when they listened to the case, they said, they felt so strongly that they're obviously saying the wrong thing because they got to give it. Right? You're the greatest.
I mean, I want to learn something, but we're not going to have time to learn. We're just going to have to finish the ground here. But just to finish the quick story, it's a good story. So the guy's getting in. He's going deaf. So asked him why he's going deaf. He said because he accepted bribes. So they said, first of all, such a great tzaddik, you accepted bribes. Second of all, it says about accepting bribes, you become blind. It doesn't say you become deaf. Why is he going deaf? He says because they only promised, they never delivered. All right. So, so the Rambam tells us that we explained all this. The Shia Kol Yidul Avinu, in order to all be known to Mevinim, those the understanders. Those that need to understand should understand. We shouldn't miss anything in the ways of Torah. We shouldn't have to go figure out what the zodiac is. You shouldn't have to go to the newspaper to figure out, you're a Pisces, so therefore everything's here. It's all inside. It's all inside Torah. Say for Hashem. You want to darshan? You want to figure something out? Figure out in the Sefer of Hashem, the book of Hashem. Nothing's missing over here from the Torah. It's all inside, like J.C. Penney, but here it's really all inside. And so with this we conclude the laws of Kiddush. It's time for Maariv, almost not 30 seconds. So we'll just do a question. And then hopefully tomorrow we'll have an answer. Question like this. There's a bullshot taking place on Shabbos. We have a good conversation. Maybe people at a Shabbos table. Oh, I had an idea. What do you think about a shidduch between this person and that person? And they wind up going out, and they get engaged. And now they got engaged. There's something called Shat Chanos. There's something called you're supposed to pay the person who came on the shidduch. So whoever idea was, whoever hooked up the match, whoever it is, they get Shat Chanos. But this came on Shabbos. Schar Shabbos. Do they get paid Shat Chanos? Could they get a Shatchan? Could they get Shatchan money? Shabbos or no? All right, coming up.
We're gonna find out.
I don't know. Ami, I was going to say I don't know the answer yet. I did the question. I read here a bunch of things. There's Gemara here, there's different stuff going back and forth, and we'll find an answer. I don't know the answer yet, but it's a good question. Maybe you know the answer. What? I want to learn the answer.
Well, Kaira is the same problem. Yes.
Kaira goes to a babysitter, and someone working in shul. It's a chazan. I was a chazan in a shul in Australia. Official job. Let's get paid. The question: How? Okay. So the question is, how do we do it? How does this all work out? And the differences between different types of jobs, how that works. Coming up, page 118. Coming. Huh? Anyone want to be chazan? Sean, want to be chazan? I think it's an interesting question. I'm excited to learn it. The new series that just came out is called Tusha Shabbos.
Skada viskada shmei.
Amen.
Israel. Agol is not going to Amen. Sador visala visalo shmei kuchu b'chol. Amen. Kol b'chol shmei tush b'chol shmei chamasa. Da'aminu mi'am. Amen. Israel is going to lose and the Lord is going to move the Mishmai. Amen. Amen. It's a show in your name, we have Israel.
It's 136.
Or Atadino, Eliane, Melachel, Shek, the Shon, the Mitzvah, of its Yvonne, or Spinos. Amen. Shloisha, the Asim Yim, Shloisha Shabu, is Mishnah Yom,
There's 180 days, there's 3 weeks and 2 days of the Bible. We continue the boundaries 1 to 11 the last month. Yeah, so one of it.
Finish it. كل جمع الإنسان خالها ساكن يصير يدخل يصير مش بيصير ليش نعرف كيف نعم باید ما خاطر باید خود شنوی خود
اتقدس
Amen.
Shalom, Maria, Shalom, Maria, Salim,
Amen. Amen. Oh, one second. Here, she'll sit down for a second. Let's all say together. Let's do it together.
Yes, please.